Welcome to Conversations in the Closet. I'm Teresa Romer with my very famous co-host, Michael Pierce.
Hi, y'all. Famous. Infamous.
Well, I'm going to start calling you famous. You know, you keep getting all these phone calls from all these casting directors that want you so badly.
Oh, no. This latest one, I saw the sizzle for it. I was going to do it. I was actually telling people last night, I might do this. Oh, no. I don't know.
That's the one I turned down last year, remember?
Ah.
Well, you know, and it finally came down to, you know, not only was the timing all wrong for me last year because, you know, I was launching my book and everything, but it came down to finally my team asking me, are you so desperate to be on a TV show that you'll just go do anything? And I was like, oh gosh, now that you put it that way.
There's a lot of things I'll do, but not for that.
I think you should sign up for the, you know, Naked and Scared or whatever it's called.
That's basically what this show is.
I know.
They were asking me all these questions like, you know, can you do this? Can you do that? And like, what do you want in your survivalist? I'm like, I want a survivalist that can carry a anorexic gay man for 6 weeks to the first place and not have to do a damn bit of bitching or whining about it. I'm like, no, I can't do any of those things. He's like, what is roughing it to you? I'm like, when I have bad Wi-Fi, that's roughing it. I am not made for the show.
They were like, well, what's roughing it for you? And I said, not having wine. Oh my God. Like
it's screwed off. That's right. When you hear the cap screw.
I mean, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and didn't have a bath for a week. You know, that was pretty bad, but you know, I don't know. Anyways, so funny. So anyways, that has nothing to do with our topic today.
Of course not. What are we talking about today, love?
So today I want to talk about crossroads in our life. Like what happens to you or what do you do when you come to a crossroads in your life and how do you handle it?
I recalculate my GPS and curse at it. If I ever get
I'm
lost,
not talking about
you just talk to Siri, where is Starbucks? Find me Starbucks. Must have a drive-through, and it'll take you right back to civilization.
Okay, so if y'all remember that we did do Fashion Week in New York a week ago or so, and I had the luxury of going to a Starbucks with Michael Pierce, and you have not lived until you've had to go to a Starbucks with Michael Pierce, because this man will not just drink any kind of coffee. It has to be Starbucks. So don't think you're gonna brew some coffee. You know, y'all think I'm very high maintenance out there. I am the lowest of maintenance. I mean, Michael makes high maintenance look like, Michael puts me to shame.
It's so funny because everyone thinks you are high maintenance and you're really not. And I'll admit it. I said on my first day, I am high maintenance. You either sign up or shut up. And like a fool, they all signed up.
Michael is the highest maintenance person I know. Honest to God. And I know a lot of high maintenance princesses, and Michael puts everyone to shame. Yes. Even I drank brewed coffee at our.
I made a great connection at that Starbucks. I made a very important connection waiting in line with someone. I can't say who, but a very important society person. So I made a good fast friend waiting in line with my Starbucks, talking to her about her crazy little dog. I'm like, how much does that weigh? Do you eat those every day? Like, how many calories is in that little chihuahua?
So when I'm talking about crossroads, Michael, I'm not talking about, you know, you crossing the road and losing your way and needing to talk to Siri. I'm talking about crossroads in your life. Like when something bad or good happens to you in your life, what direction do you go and how do you handle it?
You usually throw these to me, and I know you always have to. I'll go because I don't know that I have the answer for this. And you know I'm struggling with this right now. I haven't told a whole lot of people, but I am in a horrible crossroads. I'm in a career crossroads. I'm in a crossroads of everything. The only thing that's going right now is my husband and my social and my married life, which, knock on wood, that will always go right. So I am that total influx. And, you know, I've tried medicine with doctors. I have therapists. I have friends. I have gotten down on my knees on more days than I can recount. And that's where I usually find myself. And I'm not a very religious person. And I don't want this to turn into church or anything, but I have gotten down and said, I don't know what the F to do. And
that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. You know, that's why we're talking about it today, because many of us have encountered crossroads in our lives, and you don't know where to go. And I'm going to talk to you about a little story. Like back in 1993, I ripped a muscle in my back when I was preparing for a bodybuilding show. And I literally, you know, I was an aerobics instructor. I was a personal trainer. I mean, like, you know, I was a very physical person, and I ripped this muscle in my back, and I literally was in traction for like weeks and all kinds of medicine and everything. And that literally was a crossroads in my life, because I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what if I can't do my job anymore as I know it? You know, here I was teaching, you know, 25 aerobics classes a week. I was personal training people 8-10 hours a day. And I thought and I was walking like I was 97 years old and practically an invalid. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do if I can't do my job anymore? Like, what am I going to do to make a living? I was a single parent. I was raising 2 children, and I was faced with a decision of, what if I can't do my living anymore? What am I going to do to make a living? And I was scared to death.
What did you do?
Well, I told everyone to go to hell. I told all the doctors I told all the doctors to go to hell. I threw all their drugs out the window, and I took it upon myself to rehab myself and do my own physical therapy. And by the grace of God, with a great massage therapist and being able to hot tub, you know, 6 times a day and get massages on my back, I literally took care of myself and got myself walking again, and you know, was able to continue to do my job. But it was very, very scary. Another time when I was faced with a crossroads in my life was when I had a string of my health clubs, and one of my health clubs literally flooded because of a storm and all kinds of bad things. And I literally was faced with, you're going to have to shut your health club down because it doesn't pass code anymore. And I didn't have the money to fix everything to keep the doors open. So literally that night I went home and I put my house on the market, like way under market. And I had like 7 offers the next day, and I was able to close within that week and put all that money back into my health club, you know. But in the meantime, after I sold the house, I moved into the back of my health club, and I lived in my health club for an entire year. So yes, I too have been
reinvented from thinking it's all falling apart. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm a true believer that a lot of times doors close in our life so that other doors are allowed to open, and maybe opportunities come our way that we would have never have noticed.
Well, certainly opportunities we wouldn't have taken or considered, probably.
Right.
So it's funny you say that, and I don't know if I've shared this on another podcast with you, but I believe in these sort of God moments where people will say things to you, not knowing what you're going through, and sort of getting messages to you that you need to hear, maybe just if you're receptive to them. But I went to a lunch not too long ago with a really dear friend that I only see maybe once or twice a month. And she started telling me about all these just horrible things that were going on in her life. And she said, but I'm reading this amazing book, and it is so helping me. And the gist of her thing was, don't worry about the future, and you can't live in regret over the past. Focus on what's right in front of you and live in that moment and do what you can. And that's actually my plan right now. It's like, what can I do right now? I can stress all I want and stay in bed being a pouty, whining baby about these things, but I can do this. I can do this right now. So every time I take a step, no matter how small, that makes you feel better that you're moving towards a goal. There's so much to worry about. Worrying about it doesn't solve anything. It just robs you of the joy you have in life.
Right. You know, isn't there a saying, you know, don't waste your time worrying about things that you have no control over?
Yeah. Well, but that also includes getting older, and we both know I'm worrying about that. Oh, God knows. The struggle is so real.
Well, and after I had, and you know, a lot of you listeners weren't privy to the conversation Michael and I were having prior to going on air today.
Oh, no.
But we were talking about, we were talking about, you know, things that we do to try to keep ourselves nice looking instead of, you know, and it was funny because the other day I had a procedure done on my neck to help tighten up the skin. And my daughter looked at me and she said, Mom, why are you trying to act like you're 21? And I'm said, I by no means am trying to act like I'm 21. All I'm trying to do is take care of this, you know?
I don't know if I'm 21. When you're 21, yeah, I was drunk. I was blurred out. I was a whore. I don't want to be 21. I look like I'm 21, but I don't want to be 21. I'm not stupid.
but for some reason, she thinks that when I take care of myself, whether it be tightening up the skin or doing whatever, she's like, why are you trying to be 21 again? And I'm like, it is not called trying to be 21 again. It is called just trying to take care of what we have going on. Just like why does a woman dye her hair? It's not because she doesn't want to look 21 again. She just is trying to cover up the gray and look decent instead of looking like an old hag, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of maintenance that goes on. And it's really interesting because while we were in New York, late at night, all the ladies sat around sharing who had what procedures done. And there's misnomers that you've had a lot of work done and you've had very little work done. Like the stuff that you're talking about doing is no different than the Botox type stuff.
Exactly.
I have had 5 times more work done than Teresa Romer, just so you all know. I'm not going to say what, but I get it. You are more about, I am healthy, I'm fit, I'm taking my body being toned, and I want to stay in a healthy place. I, on the other hand, am trying to have the illusion that I am fit and not healthy.
Well, I consider my body almost like a car, okay? Like you take your car in to get the maintenance done, the oil changes and the radiator flushed, and you do all this kind of stuff. You don't want your car to actually be new again.
Headlights. I want new headlights, a new grill, lift my bumper.
But what you're trying to do is you're trying to prolong the life of your vehicle so that it looks nice and it runs nice for a long period of time. And that's what I'm doing with my body. I don't necessarily want to reinvent it and make it look like it's 12 or 21 again. It's just that I'm trying to maintain it so that it looks halfway decent as it gets older.
Mm-hmm. So were you happy with the procedure you got done?
Well, we don't know yet because it's still very swollen. So I feel like I don't have a neck, or my neck is the same size as my head. And my daughter did say, Mom, don't ever get fat. You don't look good as a fat person right now. Your neck is like...
Well, if it makes you swell like that, do they do lower? Well, can they go lower? Because my husband might like it if I went and try it out.
Well, once again, since we're talking about crossroads in our lives,
back on top.
Well, but there are a lot of women, I guess, because this procedure is called ThermiTight. This procedure is also done in other areas of your body. So I guess it's a way of rejuvenating things that have gone south, and
That's another crossroads.
But I'm just saying, just like we happen to have crossroads in our lives, whether it be in our personal life or whether it be in our business life, we also have personal crossroads when it comes to our bodies and our looks and stuff. Like you've heard this many, many times. The guy that goes out and buys the sports car because, he's having a midlife crisis, that could be considered a crossroads in your life, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at him right now. I was fine until you told me the average age of a man's lifespan. I'm like, shit, I'm already past my midlife crisis. I freaking procrastinated through that.
So do you feel like you've had the midlife crisis yet?
Oh no, I'm taking midlife crisis on a whole new glamazon stage. Like I am not even done with this midlife crisis. I am dipping my toe in the water. I'm gonna come out full on crazy.
Oh, so you're actually in it right now?
Oh, I know I am. The facelift was the fierce. When I called my husband and said, I want to get my butt done. I mean, he has just given up. At this point, he is really it's like he's married to Lucy. He really is like, I don't understand, whatever. I don't care. But I do want to go back to your point about crossroads, though, because there's a really great quote that somebody shared with me, and I think it fits on point, that success is a lot like pregnancy. Everybody sees the results, but nobody knows how many times you got screwed to get there. So success is not a direct path up.
That's a good one.
Thank you. I thought it was pretty good, too. I wish I could take credit for it. But that has been my mantra. Like falling down, moving all over the place. There's a whole lot of ways you got to get there. So one of your crossroads. Well, you've had many crossroads, I think, in your life. One was becoming
a recovering alcoholic. That was a major crossroads in your life. Another crossroads was when you had
I've had several. Anorexia and bulimia. I've had recovering alcoholic, finding out about my son when he was 4 years old, coming out of the closet, losing a job, you name it. I've had close family members commit suicide. I've had a lot of really dark sort of moments, and there are blessings in those dark moments because you see who really cares about you, and you see who reaches out and texts to see what's going on. But yeah, I've had a few.
So when we're talking about this midlife crisis, maybe did that start like when you lost all the weight?
In the gay world, you're dead at 29, I think. So
now, why would that be?
Because you can't be patted. Like if you're in your late 20s, like you're dead. They think you're older. I'm a great grandfather if I go to any gay clubs, which is why I don't go to gay clubs.
Well, I beg to differ that, because I have known a lot of gay men that did not come out of the closet until they were in their 50s and 60s.
Well, it's a different time now. Now it's totally accepted. So now you come out of the closet at like 10, you start wearing lipstick, you're YouTube famous drag queen by 15, and by the time you're like 18, you're old news. So like your lifespan, it's like a model now. It's totally different. But
really,
oh my God, yeah, I can't tell you how many people whose friends, and I feel funny because you can kind of tell, like you can there is a gaydar that you kind of tell on the gay side, and they come out and like the next time you see them, they're on YouTube, full on eyelashes, giving makeup tutorials. I'm like, oh, that took 10 minutes.
So gone are the days where you hide and you live a lifestyle that you're really not happy with, and you have children and you're married to a woman, and then suddenly now you're in your 50s and 60s and you've decided it's time I come out. Like those are not the days anymore.
I think they're gone purely because back in those days it was illegal to be gay. You could get arrested. You could be thrown in jail. You could have your kids taken away from you. You didn't have any rights. Now we've got I wouldn't say we've got full equality, but we've passed a lot of those things. So a lot of the stigma and fear that drove people like, I won't be able to get a job, I won't be able to get these things. Now they're like, screw it, it's on TV. It's become more mainstream. So amen to that. Yay! But,
well, because, a lot of our listeners may not know this, but I'm old enough to remember this. Back in the 70s, you were not called gay.
Yeah, you had a lot of fun terms for them, and I'm all of those things.
I'm
Uncle Arthur with the hello!
But the names that they had back in the 70s were horrible, like horrible. And thank God we don't have those names anymore. At least I'm not aware of those names anymore. But yeah, back in the 70s, like you said, it was a different time.
That's why I wore those on my as my outfit for Fashion Week. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
So I knew I was going with all of you glamazons who have these huge designer closets, and there's no way I was going to compete. And I knew we were front row. So I decided I decided to take the most hateful, shameful words that anybody had ever been called. And I actually had this wonderful Facebook post about, tell me what's the meanest thing anybody's ever called you. And I was blown away at the hundreds of responses of people openly sharing and how they got over it. So I took the words that really, I actually tried to kill myself as a teenager because I was called a fag so many times. So I splattered them across my chest and wore them to say, throwing a label on you doesn't say anything about you. It says more about the person who's putting on you. So
exactly.
Which is a funny thing to say at a fashion show where you're talking about designers, but it is true. You are not your label. You are the person wearing it. So yeah, I wore fat, fag, and snob. Although I kind of still like snob. I'm totally not, but I'm flattered when someone calls me a snob. I'm like, you don't know me. That's so cute.
That's amazing. So basically our takeaway here, folks, is basically, always remember that what you're going through could be devastating and it could be a major crossroads in your life, but always remember that someone else is probably going through something 100 times worse than you are, So crossroads are meant to happen in your life to hopefully open your eyes and open different windows for you to see different things in your life that maybe you would have had your eyes closed to earlier, right?
Amen to that. So very true.
That is my takeaway with crossroads in life, and hopefully you learned something interesting and new from our podcast today, other than Michael's
high maintenance.
Very high maintenance. So with that said, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Make sure you get out there and find us everywhere out there in social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and of course, find my YouTube channel. It is amazing, and like everything and subscribe to it. And I hope you have a great rest of the week and be prepared for next week. Next week's going to be off the charts.